and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, for they play football the Celtic way, 'cause they play football the Celtic way.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your Friday Focus show on the Four Leaf Clover podcast. And yep, it is breaking news. It's the news we've all been waiting for. Paddy, welcome back to the podcast. You were missing last week. How's it going, sir?
It's going very well, Scott. Yeah, we were on our travels last week. Went over for the weekend and went along to Hampden on Sunday to cheer on the girls in the Scottish Cup final against the you-know-who. And just in typical Celtic fashion this season, we managed to pull out the victory when we really needed it. So fair play and well done to the girls. A great game, great finish to the season for them. But unfortunately, I missed the pod. And then obviously last week was our last Wednesday show. So it's good to be back with you guys as always.
Yeah, and Gerry, we've had a wee bit of a pre-season beginning ourselves, and you went off. You didn't go to Marbella, but you went to the Scottish Marbella. You went to Dublin, didn't you, sir?
Yes, mate. Oh, just recovering again. That's 2 weekends in a row. Liverpool, Dublin. Probably two best cities you could go to. I had a good time with the family. My boy's 16th, mate. He tried a wee half pint of Guinness, but it wasn't for him. So I took it right off him and tanned it myself, you know. Because I'll tell you could brush your teeth right earlier, Scott. I tell you, it's beautiful. Fucking lovely. But aye, so back again, mate. That's me for going to chill out now for about 3 weeks to my holidays. So am I.
Good, man.
All good, mate. Man. All good.
Good to hear, mate, and happy birthday to the wee man as well. Stephen, how's your week been, sir? You've had a wee Wednesday off as well, and how's family life getting on over there for you, mate?
No, it's good. I was a wee bit jealous, so no, I've been staying in for the last couple of weeks. So I went out at the weekend, got my sail on, run up, ended up in the karaoke steaming. So that's it. I'll be another few months after drink for me. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying the no drinking stage of my life, but I know about it. I've been chilling all weekend. There's no football to keep us busy, but I've been playing a wee bit of golf. The weather's turned here, so it's not so good. So, but I've just had a nice chilled week.
It's getting roasty toasty over here, my man. Roasty toasty over here, as you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have 3 social pages. So we do on the Four Leaf Clover podcast. We have an X channel, a Twitter channel. We do try and keep that updated. If you do give us a wee follow on there, we will endeavour to follow you back. We also have an affiliation with this page, don't we, Paddy?
We do indeed, Scott. Yeah, this is the Planet Celtic Facebook page. So any of you Facebook users, have a wee look at the Planet Celtic page over there. Just had a wee check there a while ago. So the debates are raging again now about all the news coming through. So there's always plenty of good chat, good debate and good opinion over there. So don't forget to have a wee look at that. If you've not already done it, please give it a wee follow and don't forget to share it with all your friends and family.
Yeah, apologies for the slip of the finger there, folks. I don't normally do that. The next thing we do have is a wee Discord page as well. So if you go on the Play Store, download Discord, and you type in the Four Leaf Clover podcast, there was a little bit of debate about our new manager on there just before we came on live. So there's quite a lot of the community on there that are in the comments section. We do try and have a wee chat. I try and jump on there, so do the lads as well. Have a wee chat with everybody before and after the podcast. So please try and jump on there. So, yeah, let's get to the breaking news that has happened. Dermot Desmond has been busy as ever with his manager merry-go-round, spin the wheel, as we can see.
The wheel.
Paddy. There's a massive debate going on already amongst the Celtic fans. Now, it was, as we know, down to these two guys, apparently, allegedly, and all that sort of carry on. Two sides to it. So first of all, we're all delighted that Martin O'Neill has got the job, which is amazing news. I think it's what 99.9% of the fan base wanted. We do certainly have the right man for the job. The flip side to that, though, is the board have known since January, since he came back in for his second tenure, that we needed a manager. And, you're going to have the cynics amongst the fan base again that are going to say, what has the board been doing since January when we've had to give Martin O'Neill a couple of weeks, to make his decision up? I mean, what have they been doing in the background? But first of all, delighted to have Martin O'Neill back.
I'm absolutely buzzing, Scott, over the moon. I don't know if many actually watch these podcasts back again, but I mean, if you just go back to the last Wednesday show we had, that's exactly what I said. I said in my opinion, and that was before the talk of Robbie Keane or Craig Bellamy or any other names were being bandied around. And I said that in my opinion, that the job should be Martin O'Neill's if he wants it. Simple as that. And Celtic could put that all to bed in one telephone conversation or whatever. And I'm just delighted that's the way it's turned out. He's absolutely the man for the job, Scott. I kind of gauge the reaction from the other side on social media, and they are absolutely gutted. They're gutted that Martin O'Neill has decided to return for at least another year, possibly maybe two, and that tells you everything. The man has the Midas touch. He has the Indian sign over them. You just have to look at what he done this season, and he did it the first time around. First time around probably was maybe slightly easier. He had put players like Larson and Sutton and Hartson and Mjallby and all the names. This time around, he maybe didn't have that quality, but you just look at the job the guy done. It's as simple as that. To come in not once but twice in the same season and bail us out of trouble and end up with a league and cup double. It just speaks volumes for the man. So I couldn't be more pleased, Scott. I'm absolutely delighted. As I said to you, the man who deserved the job has now got the job. As far as the board are going, I'm not that bothered, Scott, to be honest. Because of Martin's age, maybe there were conversations that were being had throughout the season long to see how he was feeling about the whole thing. And I know there was some conjecture about that towards the end of the season about, maybe he had he had maybe made a few comments that people sort of thought, I'm just too old for this nonsense. So give the club the credit. Maybe they just said, right, you know what, we'll see how he feels at the end of the season. We'll need to wait and see how he feels at the end of the season. All the talk about Robbie Keane seemed to dominate everything over the last few days, and for me, it just muddied the waters. But you see, to be fair, Scott, I'm not that bothered, Scott. I really am not that bothered. If they spoke to Robbie Keane, if they didn't speak to him, if they spoke to Craig Bellamy, if they didn't speak to him, my opinion is that they got there in the end. They got the right man in the end, and I couldn't be more delighted. Martin O'Neill is absolutely the man for the job, and to have Martin O'Neill now with money in his pocket to go and spend on the quality that we need for next season, I couldn't be more pleased.
Yeah, Gerry, a lot of talk about Robbie Keane, Craig Bellamy, all these other guys. Do you think, first of all, let's welcome Martin O'Neill. We're all delighted that he's here. But do you think Robbie Keane was kind of scared off with the fan reaction as well?
I would say so, mate. I would say so. He would need to have balls of steel, mate, to take the job. Let's be honest here. I don't want to get into too much of the political side of it because I'll be honest, I'm not really educated enough to try and convince other people. All I know is I've got good morals. But education-wise on what's happening, I'm no great on it. Fitness side there, listen, I've said before, I want it anew, and I'm absolutely over the moon. Listen, I just hope Celtic back him the first time, Scott.
Yeah.
Nobody come in 2000, 2001 or whatever.
Yeah.
Give him proper backing. No loans, and it's time now for. It'd be great if they did the first time. And Neil, what gets to me, I'm a bit different with the board, Paddy. I'm thinking, why was he not even fucking asked straight after the Hearts game?
Absolutely.
Right,
absolutely.
Martin. Yeah. Right, Martin. Let's get you signed, mate. What's happening? Do you want the job? Brilliant. Why are they even interviewing? Why did they not speak to Martin O'Neill first this week? Then he says no. Then they go to Keane. If that's what their choice was, that's fine. But I can't believe how they went and spoke to Keane first. Then they go to Martin O'Neill. That there just sums up their fucking board. That just sums them up. They didn't need to go through all the Keane shite here. If they just went straight to O'Neill. So for me, that's a thing, mate. I mean, we're 9 weeks away from 9 weeks on Tuesday for the first Champions League playoff game. And Now, I'm glad this is my way. Let's get settled now, because listen, last year was a bad year, Scott. Let's be
Yeah.
honest here. The last 7 weeks at the football was fucking brilliant. The last 7 weeks was brilliant, but before that was it was a shitey season. Let's be honest here. There was all the falling out, and we kind of go together. Then see the last few days on Twitter and all it. We're fucking, it's all fell apart again there. We even Keane getting mentioned, you know, and the distraction when the man taking over would have been fucking unbelievable. And I'm just thinking, Celtic's done the right thing here, but they should have done it quicker, because there only was one guy. I know there's been 6 months. Maybe I'm being a bit high here, but can we attract a top manager? We can attract a manager who'll come in and maybe going to be a top manager, and maybe somebody who's been a top manager, but somebody who's a top manager. I just don't know the now. Do you know what? I just don't know. And I'm just happy Neil's in, mate. We can settle down now. And let's just there's time we saying it, unity. That's what we need now. We need everybody. We've seen it against Rangers with Nancy. They beat us at Parkhead and they bother easy. Then you've seen us all together. When the fans were back in, the Green Brigade was back in, Scott. We're different, everybody together. We need it all. Get after this season. We can't get through another season like last season, mate. And I'm so glad it's a Neil, but I just wish it was quicker, mate. That was all. Straight after the Hearts game, it should have been signed, because what he was done was nearly a miracle. Let's be honest here. It was, to win the game. So I'm happy tonight, mate. Happy man.
Aye, they should have got in the shower there. We Martin had his shower cap on, Stephen, and offered him the job like he did with Neil Lennon. Gerry and Paddy have made some great points there. Lorna made a cracking point there as well about the unity. That's something that he's brought back to the club. That's why I left it up there, because I did want to come on to that pretty quickly as well, as about the unity at the club. Also, one thing that kind of irks me a wee bit is how the board never backed him in January. Martin O'Neill would always do the best for Celtic Football Club, regardless if he was here for 6 months or 6 years. So they should have backed him in January, and they just gave him a load of loan signings and said, here, crack on with them. Do you think they will back him, Stephen? Or and what do you feel about it?
I think I've got Gerry's internet issues. Am I all right?
Aye, you're fine, aye.
Aye, just I'm kidding. They've got to back him, Paddy. We've said in the last few podcasts that we've done, he's definitely, I know he's old, right? But he is a top manager. He's got the best out of the players we've got on our side. It's probably the worst Celtic side we've had in many, many years. And what he's done to get that side out of the line, man, in fact, a league and cup double. So we can't hide the fact that he's a top manager. He is a top manager. It depends what the board's plan was, to go out and have a whole new manager, new team, new structure, new plan. I don't know. I don't think it sounds as though we've settled for him. We've settled for Neil. I don't think he's a second prize, if you know what I mean. But they should have just offered him the job straight away. Just offer him the job straight away. He's a cracking man. Interviewing other people, or the speculation with other managers might have put a bit of doubt in Martin O'Neill's head. Like, does this club really want me? I don't think the board have done it the right way. Like you have said earlier on, after we win the league or after the cup final, they should have got him straight in the boardroom and say, look, Martin, do you want this job? You could really help us out here. And it's not a long-term fix. It's a year with an option in a second year.
Yeah.
But we'll give them 2 years to sort out what they want to do with the club. But I think they should have offered it straight away. Stop all the speculation and all that, and just get planning for starting a new season sooner. But I think they've picked the right man. Without a doubt, I think they've picked the right man.
Absolutely, lads, and we totally welcome him back to the club. One of the things I was going to talk about when I prepped the podcast a couple of days ago was the Green Brigade statement, and it's pretty damning. A lot of CSCs and stuff, Paddy, and a lot of podcasts last night signed a petition against Robbie Keane.
Yeah. Just
want to get onto that quickly. Do you think Dermot Desmond, when he was in his boardroom doing his little shuffle with the managerial merry-go-round sort of thing, Do you think he's finally decided to listen to fan pressure this time?
It certainly looks that way, Scott. Because if you go by the court of public opinion earlier on in the week, the RTE for one were more or less saying that Keane was going to be announced the next day. That was sort of like Tuesday, Wednesday of last week. So listen, Scott, you know yourself, we don't like getting involved in politics. Gerry said the same. I'm not a politician and no claims to be a politician, but I do know right from wrong. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that sometimes you have to make a stand. You absolutely have to make a stand. And we've seen Seamus Coleman coming out recently there. You know, we've seen Pep Guardiola coming out recently there. And we've said it on this podcast before. You know, what started on October the 7th was absolutely horrendous and was wrong. And Israel had every right to absolutely defend their borders and defend their people. But they've taken it a step too far now. And we can all see, as I say, I don't need to regurgitate stuff that we talked about before, but we all can see what's been going on since, and it's not right. And it's now beginning to start to have an effect with other countries around the world, and it's now having an effect at the United Nations in New York. You can see the frustration with Israel and the way they won't seem to listen to anybody else. But I just feel myself, I wasn't even going down that side. My view on the thing was very simple. We would have been inviting a circus that we just simply did not need. Lorraine was on straight away there, absolutely. The only reason we won the League and Cup double, there was two reasons. One was Martin O'Neill, and the other was the unity that we found towards the end of the season. Absolutely no question of that. The atmosphere at Celtic Park that we had to deal with in October, December, January, that wouldn't have done it. It wouldn't have cut it. It's as simple as that. We just would not have got over the line with that kind of disharmony that was going on between the Green Brigade, the rows upon rows of empty seats. Martin O'Neill changed all that again when he came in for the second time, and we galvanised it. And the Green Brigade and the other fans collective, they put their differences to one side for the sake of the team for those last 7 or 8 games. And alongside Martin O'Neill and his coaching staff, that's the reason why we did what we did, plain and simple, because of that unity. And I just felt, Scott, that Robbie Keane, and I have nothing against Robbie Keane, he was a fantastic player for Ireland. He did a good job when he came to Celtic and stuff like that. But I just felt that we would have been bringing in a circus that we might never have recovered from. Yeah. You know, we've said it before. Like, we're only sitting here tonight. We were born out of famine and oppression. That's where we were born. We were born out of that. The Irish, the Scots. We were born out of that kind of famine, oppression, genocide. And it's every Celtic supporter's right, and to me it's an obligation that we stand against oppression and famine and genocide, because that's where we were born. If we can't stand against that type of thing, it's a poor show. And as Gerry said, it's about having morals. It's about knowing right from wrong. You teach your children what's right, you teach them what's wrong, and you hope that they go out into the big bad world and they develop into human beings the way they're supposed to. But I just felt that with Robbie Keane, they would have been starting something that we maybe never would recover from again, and you would just have lost all that progress that we've made. Now, obviously, the issues still haven't all been fully sorted out. The club can sit down now with the fans this summer and hopefully put those issues to bed and get all that sorted. But as I say, the overriding thing for me, Scott, was just the experience. And I'm not trying to take away what Robbie Keane has done in the game, but if you were giving me Martin O'Neill on one hand and Robbie Keane on the other hand, and Robbie Keane had never been in Israel in his life, I would still have been going for Martin O'Neill. Absolutely, 100%. To me, there was definitely there was a threat of that whole thing developing into a whole political circus. The first time Robbie Keane would have stepped out at Celtic Park, he had been met by 10,000 Palestine flags. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But for me, the overriding thing was the fact that I just did not think that Robbie Keane at this present minute in time was right for the Celtic job. And that's being quite honest, Scott. The whole other thing, I was just glad we didn't have to think about it. But as I say, if Robbie Keane had never been in Israel and it had never been a question, I would still have been saying I want Martin O'Neill as opposed to Robbie Keane. Absolutely no doubt about it. So for me, you know, whether the board were looking at that, whether they were taking that on board, people will tell you Dermot Desmond doesn't listen to anybody. But for whatever reason, Scott, the right decision was made at the end of the day. Whether they stepped back from Robbie Keane or whether they just wanted to see what both parties had to say. Martin did raise a few times, if you remember, towards the end of the season that maybe they're looking at a younger man and stuff like that. So maybe they did have a chat with Robbie Keane to see, listen, what could you offer us? What could you do to give us an idea of what your leadership would look like? And after speaking to Robbie Keane, then they went back to Martin and then maybe said, how do you feel about it now? And that's, as Gerry says, I would just like to have seen them going to Martin straight away and saying, well, we don't need to speak to anybody else if Martin wants the job. So I think there's been a change of heart somewhere, Scott. And this, Scott, it could maybe even have been Robbie Keane himself, maybe not even Dermot Desmond. It could have come from Robbie Keane himself.
Yeah.
Said to use in the green room there, these guys, while they maybe don't use social media as much as we do, they certainly have people who know about it and hear about it and see things. So I have no doubt that there were people whispering in Robbie Keane's ear to say, listen, mate, you might take a wee look at that there. You know what I mean? So maybe it's just something, maybe Robbie Keane just said, I don't need that at my time of life. I just don't need it. But anyway, long story short, I'm just glad that the right decision was arrived at. Whether it was Dermot Desmond had a change of heart or Robbie Keane had a change of heart, or whether there was just a genuine conversation and nobody was offered the job and they just got to the right man. Martin O'Neill's the right man for the job, without question.
I think Stephen's left the building, mate, because you're back, Paddy, and he doesn't want Skelton at the quiz. I think that's what's happened here. Quick, another one now, lads. Gerry, I'll come to you first on this one, mate. I was thinking about this earlier as well. So Martin O'Neill has obviously got the job permanently now, and he was sort of given a sort of makeshift backroom staff. Now there's two guys that are available that he could potentially bring into the club. And the two guys that I'm thinking about, I want to get your thoughts on it and your thoughts in the chat as well. These two guys are available, and I'm sure they would walk over broken glass to come and work under Martin O'Neill at Celtic Park. And it's these two guys here, Gerry. Scott Brown and Roy Keane. What do you make of that? Roy Keane was obviously his assistant at Ireland. He's obviously out of job at the minute. Get him in, get the standards up again, things like that. I know you're a big man on standards. And we don't need to talk about standards when it comes to the man on the left-hand side as well. What do you make of those two wild cards coming into Celtic this summer, mate?
That's a there, pal. I'll tell you that. I mean, absolute crackers. I know Martin O'Neill was a bit angry with the youngins at first when he took over, but I think he's got to really like them, and they've kept him young, and I'm watching bits and bobs talking about them, and he's absolutely over the moon with what he's got. But I think if Maloney moved into a different area, to try and maybe hang me for the first team into the B teams, maybe looking after that, Scott, and all the loan kind of players and stuff like that, dealing with him, then maybe Keane would, I think there's more chance, would Keane come out of all his stuff, I don't know. Listen, Brown's a good shout and all. I hadn't even thought of him, I thought, to be fair, Martin will just keep it the way it's been, because it's worked. But I think for some reason he's fell in love with that Fozzie, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's really fell in love with it. So, I mean, I think, we spell it Notts County's manager as well or something, did you know? So I think, if I'm right. So, I don't know if he wanted to change it, but now he's just maybe gone with what it was on the 2 short breaks he was manager there, but now he's actually in the door now. Listen, Keane was with him at Ireland, wasn't he? He was with him, so been with him a couple of times. You never know, Scott. They'd be absolute crackers, mate. Two of them would be belters. Any one of the two would be crackers. I mean, I know Roy Keane gets a bit hang me. I like Roy Keane, I didn't mind guys like him, Scott, as managers, because he told you the truth, mate,
Yeah.
For me, there's no talking behind your back. He fucking tells you the way it is, and
Yeah.
I can take that. I know some players can't take that, but I can take that. I know, tell the truth, just tell you what it is. But I never even thought of that, mate. I'm just kind of at the stage now. I've just thought Martin O'Neill, it's just a great. He's back in the door. As Paddy was saying about Keane, mate, I think maybe two folks came to a bit of common sense, Paddy, Dermot Desmond and Keane.
Yeah.
It was not going to happen, as soon as the fans start taking banners to the... And understandable wise, mate, we talked about it morals, as I say, he may be going to regret this the rest of his life, Paddy. He will, Keane, for going over there and taking on a job, he never maybe walked out the door. As soon as that started, maybe walked out the door the first day. Instead I don't know, fucking try to keep his physio in a job to get his mortgage paid. It's not working, Paddy, To me, that's not working. as you talk about morals, you walk out the door the next day, but you should have been there in the first place.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm just a happy man tonight. You know, it's all fair and nice. 6 months, I know Celtic could have maybe have looked at other people, Scott, but what Neil's done's been fucking. I keep going back to Neil, but I can't say miracle, but come on. He's in there and fucking did it the last 7 games. Who that? I know I'm sitting on here on a Wednesday and a Friday saying we can do it, but maybe when the laptop goes down, I'm walking away going, can we do it? You know? And you know what? We fucking did do it. And I'm not going to sit here now and think Celtic will not do this and that again now. I'm because they never surprise you, do they? Like, all these years, Celtic's never surprised us. And this year, to come out it again. But we were getting into that 5 games in third position, mate, as in third place to win that. And we came out the end of it. And the meltdown, see, the meltdown's going to stop for a couple of days now because of Keane. That's a wee bit. So hopefully the meltdown can start again with Hearts and Rangers. Now we've got a Neil back. Because let's be honest, they can call them the old dinosaur if they want, but the old dinosaur fucking pick one or other. No tactician, no rogue. So I'm over the moon. I'm glad me everything's all worked out in the end. 1 year behind. I know his age thing's a factor, but I talked about it last pod, mate. The presence. Walking in that changing rooms and you know he's in. There's certain guys know, and I'll even say even Jockstein, Martin Hill, Walter Smith, even Walter Smith, let's be honest, get in there. They fucking, you knew, and you listened. Even the physio stopped to listen to what I knew when these guys talked about. So I'm over the moon, mate, honest. I'm over the moon.
Paddy, your man Terry there, he said, you know, if it's broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be doing any damage whatsoever by bringing any one of these two in, or even both of them. Roy Keane was his assistant at Ireland, as you well know. Bruni's out of work at the minute. I think any one of these two, or even both, mate, would be a fantastic addition to the backroom team.
They wouldn't do it, and I know Terry well. Terry's one of my wee travelling buddies, as you know, and we always have debates on the bus about various things, and I can understand 100% where he's coming from. Big Steve McManus, Sean Maloney, Mark Fothering, and they've done a brilliant job alongside Gavin Strachan and stuff. But they were only a temporary setup, until the end of the season, the same as Martin was. So I just don't know what the feeling is. I know Martin grew very close to them and very attached to them as the season wore on. So that will obviously factor into it. But again, Scott, you need to be looking. We need to be looking strategically, Scott. We're a big club. We're a supposed Champions League club. And big clubs and Champions League clubs, they don't just wait until something happens and then put the fire out. You need to have a succession plan in place. You need to be bringing people in the same way that we brought Sean Maloney in. Like, Sean Maloney has already got managerial experience and stuff, but there was never a suggestion that he was in line for the Celtic job. He may be at some point down the line, but he's not ready for that yet. But the likes of Scott Brown, Roy Keane, and people like that, the one thing that's clear about Martin O'Neill is that Martin's not going to be around for the next 5 years. I think that's obvious to everybody. We're going to get a year out of him, possibly maybe another 2, maybe a year and a half, whatever, because by that stage he'd be 75, almost 76. And that's a big ask for a man of that age to keep going with that pressure and stuff. So I think it's right that we should be planning ahead, Scott. And in the same way that we're, Gerry will tell you, our playing squad is the way it is because we didn't plan ahead. We allowed good players to walk out, and we had nothing coming in behind, and we had no youths coming through. Celtic need to start thinking like a big club and start thinking strategically. And if you do think that somewhere down the line, Scott Brown might be capable of taking over the manager's seat, or Roy Keane, or whatever, that's the sort of things that you need to be looking at now. I would have absolutely no problem with that at all. As I say, there will be discussions around the coaching setup, and it was all very temporary, and it was all kind of put on the back burner because, as Gerry said, what we had to focus on from January time or February time, we had to focus on trying to salvage the season. That's what we were focusing on, and all our efforts and all our energy went into that, and that's probably why Martin was asked about it a few times, but he didn't even want to talk about the end of the season because he knew he had these games coming up, and these games were going to be very vital. The other thing that I would say, Scott, too, again, as Gerry said, that Scott Brown and Roy Keane, from talking about professional standards in terms of how they conduct themselves around the football club, how they expect players to dress, how they expect to behave. You know, I remember Brendan Rodgers making a comment one time about Lee Griffiths, and he said the problem with Lee Griffiths is I expect him to be a Celtic support. I expect him to be a Celtic player 24 hours a day, and that tells you everything that you need to know about these elite managers and players. And I would put Scott Brown and I would put Roy Keane in that category. Scott Brown maybe not an elite manager, but he certainly was an elite player with a Scotland player, played in Europe, lifted many trophies for Celtic. Roy Keane, one of the most decorated players ever to play the game. These guys, these things don't happen by accident, Scott. They're there by design, and the influence that these guys have on younger players when they see how they conduct themselves around the training ground and around the club and stuff like that. The other thing that I think, and I'm delighted for, is I still think this could be a massive change in terms of the players that we may see going out the door. Arnie Engels recently spoke about how much he had enjoyed playing under Martin O'Neill, and so did Dyson Maida. Maybe some people are sort of thinking it's a given that those two guys in particular will be maybe the first out the door this summer. I'm just thinking now Martin O'Neill coming in as a permanent manager might change all that for these guys. Maybe Martin has a chat with Dyson Maida, maybe have a chat with Arnie Engels, just say settle. You know, let's give it another season. Hopefully, see what we can do next year. So that's another reason why I'm delighted, because I say there was a couple of those players recently spoke out about how much they really reveled under playing under Martin O'Neill, and you can see it. You can see the difference in Dyson Maida in Martin's second spell this season. He became a different player. Yeah. He became the Dyson that we know and love. Arnie Engels unfortunately picked up an injury, but again, for me, Engels was one of the best players we had between the last sort of 7 or 8 games of the season, and that's down in no small part to the influence that Martin O'Neill had on these guys. So I think that's another reason why I'm delighted. But listen, if anybody ever has an opportunity to bring someone with the experience of Scott Brown and Roy Keane into the equation, absolutely, it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yes, Gerry, go for it.
We talk about Roy Keane, and it sticks with me forever. Now, it's no Celtic thing. Is Gascoigne get booked at the World Cup and he went in a huff and the team just fell apart. Yeah. Roy Keane get booked against Juventus and rolled his fucking arms up, rolled his sleeves up, and took Man United to the final. And he could have been in the huff. And now that guy stands up, a teammate, you know, Scott, and that just shows you the character of the guy for me. No, you sit there as a teammate and go, I might not be playing the final, but I'll make sure my teammates are playing the final.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that sticks with me with Keane. Fucking brilliant.
Great point. Right, lads, we'll move on quickly because Martin O'Neill has completely fucked the whole podcast up. I had it all prepared as ever. And then just before we came on, Martin O'Neill gets announced as manager. So obviously that was going to take up the chunk of the show. So I've got a couple of wee stories, sort of Celtic related as well. Gentlemen, would you ever think Yaya Toure and Darren O'Day would ever team up? Well, that looks like it's going to be the case. Slovan Bratislava are about to appoint Yaya Toure as their new manager, and this man is going to be the assistant. Quite unbelievable. What a career path Darren O'Day has had, and Tommy Burns is a massive influence on Darren O'Day's life. You know, I've interviewed Darren. He had TB on his shin pads for his playing career. For Tommy Burns, that's how much he... So Tommy will have the hand on his shoulder for sure and guiding him through, and it's great to see, you know, so keep an eye out on this man. He could be the man to replace Martin O'Neill in a year or two. So all the best to you, Darren. We know you'll be watching, mate, so good luck at Slovan Bratislava. So another thing I've got for his lads that I thought was going to take up about 20 minutes or half an hour. I wanted to dissect the squad now and go through position. Now, one of the guys, again, I prepped this the other day, and as I prepped it, about an hour later, this guy bloody left the club, Louis Palmer. So all the best to you as well. So he's on this list. So we'll go through it position by position, lads, and we'll start off with you, Paddy, with the goalkeepers, as you can see. So yeah, Kasper Schmeichel has obviously left, so it's definitely a position that we will need to improve. Do we bring in a number 2, or do we bring in a new number 1? Are you happy with Sinisalo, or do we bring in a number 1 for yourself? What are you thinking?
Well, my view is simple, Scott. I thought Sinisalo certainly, he grabbed the jersey, he grabbed his opportunity with both hands, and he never really let us down. Maybe a couple of goals here and there, the goal at Motherwell in the middle of the week game, I thought he didn't cover himself on glory in that, but on the whole, I think he's a very capable and a very dependable goalkeeper. However, I still would like to see us signing a top class, very, very experienced goalkeeper. Just somebody else to give him even another year, another season working alongside Sinisalo and share the load and stuff like that. So somebody the likes of Joe Hart again, the likes of Schmeichel that we signed were absolutely fantastic signings for us and helped to bring all the goalkeepers along, Sinisalo included. So I would like to see us signing somebody, Scott. I would like to see somebody. We need to bring in another goalkeeper because we simply don't have enough bodies there. We could probably even have to bring in another couple because you have to have one on the bench on all the games. So you're going to need two. So you're going to obviously have to have another one in reserve in case something happens in the warm up. So I think we could look at probably signing another prospect goalkeeper, but I would definitely like to see us signing a goalkeeper of note to basically compete on a fair basis with Sinisalo as the season goes on.
Is there anybody you have in mind, Paddy?
There's not really, Scott. No, what I was planning to do was I was going to take a look at this World Cup and watch some of the teams here in this World Cup just to see if there's any there, because there's always, yourself, when a World Cup comes around or European Championships, there's always a couple of teams that you're sort of not here, you don't really hear much about, and all of a sudden a few players stand out. So I haven't really seen anybody, Scott, really that we were linked with before. I think there it's all kind of gone quiet on that. So I just think we definitely need to bring in another goalkeeper who is at least as good as Sinisalo and maybe better, just so that we can get that competition for places again. It was brilliant for us. We benefited from it when it was Schmeichel and Sinisalo. It was brilliant because the standard never dropped, even when one of them were out. So that's what we need to get back to. We definitely need to sign some kind of a goalkeeper.
Gerry, a new number one. Are you thinking? Are you happy with Sinisalo? Also, Ross Doon, will he be happy doing the Scott Carson job there as a number 3? Will he be looking for a new club as a number 1? There's loads of permutations in there, mate. What are you thinking?
I'm on a new goalie, mate. I'm Celtic over the years is bringing in Bain just making cups of tea and not putting pressure on the goalies. For me, a top team, you make one mistake, mate. I had one mistake, obviously, but if you start getting out of form, mate, there's a keeper there who's better, who's straight in. And I would like to see another goalie come right in there who's going to be a number 1, not just a backup to Sinisalo, mate, personally. Yourself, your goalkeepers, it's a hard one because you can't make mistakes, Scott, there. You can make mistakes elsewhere, but they're always scrutinised, Melineting goalkeepers, And listen, the man, he's done well. He's done good enough for me, but I'm looking for a big guy with presence, big. So I don't know many goalies going about, to be fair, but I just want somebody with big presence, mate, and can get in there and challenge who's no number 2, but the two, him and Sinisalo are basically every week are going for it, mate. So they do. That's the things you need at big clubs, mate. You need challenges every position. You can't just have guys your names, you're walking into the changing room, your name's going up there in the first place, Scott. The standards drop, mate. No, needs to be up there, mate.
Stephen, are you thinking a brand new number 1? You happy with Sinisalo, or what are you thinking yourself, mate?
I kind of agree with Paddy. Right, he came with a good reputation that he's a young keeper. Sinisalo, I'm talking about young keeper coming in with a lot of potential. And I think he's learnt a lot for Joe Hart and Schmeichel. And it's probably brought his game on, and especially with the competition with Schmeichel being injured and I'm kind of getting a shot in the first team. And they done all right. So I don't want to say I want to get a new keeper because he didn't do well. But I think, if we can get another experienced, maybe towards the end of the career, just like another Joe Hart, Schmeichel type of thing, and give him maybe another season or maybe another 2 seasons to learn for these guys to make him a better player. So I would like to keep Sinisalo at the club because I think there's definitely a good keeper in him. I think he's just a couple of wee mistakes and maybe a wee bit young, if you know what I mean. But I would get somebody in, and for the competition as well. So you want a high standard of keeper to come in to compete with Sinisalo and bring him on even a wee bit more. So I would go for. I would like to see somebody better, somebody older, somebody with more experience to do the job and bring Sinisalo on with him. I think that's what I would like to see. But I'm happy he's at the club. I'm not saying I don't like him as a keeper. To be your number one, I think we need a better standard than what he's at right now. But he's got potential to be the number one.
Good points, lads. Good points.
Aye.
Good points. So let's move on to the left backs then, Paddy. We've got Kieran Tierney, Montgomery and Inamura. There's talk of Sirachi coming back. What are you thinking there? Would Sirachi be the man for you, maybe getting ready Montgomery and Inamura?
Absolutely, Sirachi. I can't understand why it hasn't already been done, Scott, because they're looking to move him on. And I mean, the guy impressed me like really more than probably any other player this season. Maybe any actual with the goals he scored. But for me, anytime Sirachi was involved in the game, he was absolutely brilliant. And we even talked before about, maybe he would be a kind of a foil, maybe somebody to play ahead of Kieran Tierney on the left-hand side of midfield. He's really comfortable with the ball at his feet, comfortable breaking forward. And what I like about Sirachi is he doesn't seem to even know what it is to pass the ball back. He likes to get the head down and go forward at all times. He's been brilliant. So I don't know why the deal hasn't already been done. Maybe this whole thing with the manager's been dragging on or whatever, but just exactly what the viewers are saying there. If we started the season with Kieran Tierney and Sirachi as our two left back options, it would be just tremendous for me. I'm not sure what's happening with Inamura. I think he's due to come back as well. Adam Montgomery strikes me as one, similar to Stephen Welsh. He's been in and out of the squad. He's been out on loan a few times, and he's never really managed to come and make himself even a squad player. He's never even managed to get onto the end of the squad on a regular basis. So if we're not looking at Sirachi and we're not going to do a deal for Sirachi, I think we definitely need to be looking at somebody else. I know there was talk of Andy Robertson, but I think he is signed for Spurs. So if there's no Sirachi deal, we absolutely need another one, because there's no way that Kieran Tierney can play the amount of games that we're going to have next season, especially if we qualify for the Champions League and on the back of playing for Scotland in this World Cup. So left back is another one that we need to absolutely strengthen in.
Yeah, and Gerry, I think when we've seen the behind the scenes on Celtic TV, Martin O'Neill actually selected him for individual praise in front of the whole team and gave him a wee cuddle and all that and brought him out in front of the whole squad. So there's obviously a cracking bond there. Like he's got with Yang as well. He's his other adopted son. So it looks like he is coming back, mate.
Well, it's one of the ones, isn't it? Celtic maybe want him. Sirachi likes the whole tend to say the teaming, but let's be honest here. Come on. The guy's got to play more, lads. Come on. He's too good. Would I want to go back and sit on the bench? I don't think so, Scott. Yeah. I know Tierney, by the way, Tierney's had a good season. I know Tierney got after a kind of slow start. But come on, Sirachi. That's what I'm trying to say. We've got to try to find Sirachi more game time, mate. Mm-hmm. He's got to... I know you can't turn and say to a player, don't worry, you'll play every week. That doesn't work like that. But Sirachi's got to get more game time, mate, if he's going to come back to Scotland. He's a Uruguayan international player who come on and change games with his energy and his fucking drive and he's standing up to folk. He was more angry than any other Celtic player against other teams. When we were getting bullied off teams, he stood up for himself. So for me, Sirachi's got to get more game time, mate. And I keep telling you, I know, he can play at left midfield, he's got to. And maybe Tierney can go inside a couple of games, he can play free at the back and play Sirachi. I just think for Sirachi to come back, mate, we've got to find more game time for him. And that, I don't think it's a Celtic thing now with Sirachi. I think Sirachi's maybe saying to himself, can I spend as much time on the bench again? Yeah. No, because what age is he? 28, 27, 28? I think you've got to try and find more game time for him, mate. And it's no brainer for any to want Sirachi back. The guy's brilliant, man. The guy's just the energy, the everything he brought for the club. A lot of loan guys just go through the procedure of being at a club, like I'll stay here for a few months. That guy gave his all every time he came on. 6 minutes to go, he fucking still put it in. And these are guys I love playing football with, Scott, you know. No the prima donnas, the change rooms, all about themselves. You can tell these guys are about the team. In fact, that's why we love them, because you know they're about the team. And for me, I don't know how Neil can do it, but he's got to try and find a way, mate, to get Sirachi in there more, mate. So that's the only thing for me, mate. But not one Celtic fan would no want Sirachi back. You know what I mean, mate? And for Andy Robertson, it just shows you into it. I'm not saying Celtic never made the contact, but still picking up a great wage again for Tottenham, knowing he can't come up here and, do you know what I mean? So that just tells you, yeah, let's play for Celtic for a couple of years. So still, just shows you in people's lives it's still about fucking money. That's what I think anyway. You know what I mean?
Right, bang on, mate. Stephen, couple of cracking points there for the guys again. Jota's out, as we know, until at least October, maybe even Christmas again. An option to bring Sriracha in and play him at left midfield, or are you thinking of another left back potentially instead?
No, again, what we've said, and the guys in chat, I would love to see him back. And to agree with Gerry, I'm sure I actually read somewhere that he does want the first team. He wants to be the first name on the sheet, on the team sheet. Well, every player does, but I think Sriracha did mention or say to some reporter or something that would prefer more game time. I would love to see him back. I really would. And why I think, listen, we all love Kieran Tierney and all, right? And when he came back for Arsenal, we didn't think we would get as many games out of him as we did. We didn't think we would get him. We thought with his injuries and Kieran Tierney would be in and out the side. But he got the full season. So are we going to get another full season out of Kieran Tierney? Who knows? I think we should really go for this guy. I think he will get the game time that he wants. He's definitely the player that all the fans love him. And who's to say we can't play him in the left winger for short if we don't get a winger in? Because he's lightning quick. He's work rate is second to none and all. It just seems to do 100 mile an hour everywhere he goes. Committed, full-hearted with his runs, his passing, his tackling. Really like him. I would love to see him back. And if it's a personal thing, I think Celtic should maybe give him the assurance he's in more game time, because he's definitely a player that could play anywhere, I think, on that left side. Anywhere. And I don't want to be pessimistic. With Kieran Tierney going to the World Cup, after them playing as many games as they did this season, he might not come back fit enough to start. He's getting older, I know he's another year older, he might be an injury away, but don't want to be pessimistic, but we definitely need backup. And Sriracha fits the bill. Everybody in the chat, we all love him. Everybody that I've spoke to loves him.
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer. I think that one should get done pretty soon. I think if we can get it done, the club want to sell him. The club's actually came out and Boca Juniors, I think it was, came out and said
he's a bad athlete, apparently earlier.
And but they don't want to sell him to like a rival team. So if they want to sell him and he likes it here, I think that's another no-brainer. I think it needs to get done pretty quick as well.
Aye, guaranteed. And Carter has said that KT is 29 today, so aye, happy birthday, KT. I didn't know that one.
Scott, I would love to ask Sriracha what he thinks of the Celtic Rangers to the River Plate in Boca. No, I'd love to see what because now he's obviously played in the tour, and I'd love to see what he thinks of them,
That's a question. That's a question. Well, I'm sure he'll get asked it at some point, mate. So, Paddy, let's move on to the centre-halves. Yeah, a couple of people mentioning Jacinta's boyfriend, soon-to-be ex-boyfriend, because she just texted me there about half an hour ago. What are you thinking? Big Starfelt back, centre-halves? Do we need more centre-halves, or are you happy to go as is?
Oh, I would take Starfelt back in a heartbeat. Absolutely. A guy that, for me, I don't know why they seem to divide opinion, but he was a massive, massive part of what Big Ange tried to do, especially in his first couple of seasons. But when you look at the list there, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales, those are the really ones that you have as you would call your first choice. Then you move down to Dean Murray, who come in a few times and maybe sometimes didn't cover himself in glory, but for me, showed signs that he has developed a wee bit. He's developing into a bit of a player. So I still think with the influence of maybe Martin O'Neill and the coaching staff, like Dean Murray could be developed into a player. But the biggest worry for me, Scott, again, is the injuries. Again, Trusty has been injury prone and Carter-Vickers is injury prone. The only one that we can rely on is big Liam Scales. And again, another guy who takes some amount of abuse from Celtic fans, and I just don't see why, because we all know, as I said before, big Liam has his limitations as a player, but without Liam Scales this season, where on earth would we have been in terms of holding that defence together and keeping things right? And he's not the finished article by any manner of means, but he has never ever let us down, and he gives 110% for the cause every game. So just with the threat of injuries to Carter Vickers and Trusty, I think we would definitely need to be looking at bringing somebody in. Mike Brodowski's it's a strange one, Scott. The managers that have been here, they don't seem to fancy the big guy for whatever reason, and he's gone out on loan at Hanover, and I think he's done really well, and I think they would actually like to keep him, but I think Celtic are pricing him out of their range type of thing. So I'm not entirely sure what would happen with him, but for me, I would like to see us signing another centre half of that caliber, so that you would have two, for each position. You would have four there. You would have Carter Vickers, you would have Scales, you have Trusty, and one other. Carl Starfelt will be a sensational signing for us if we could get him back again. He was a brilliant player. Don't know whether he would come back to Glasgow or not, but certainly we need a player of that ilk, because we're all hoping and fingers crossed that big Carter Vickers comes back unscathed. But again, as we talked about last week with Jota and one or two other guys, he's getting on a bit in years now, and as we all know, the injuries take their toll on you as you get older. It's harder to recover than it's harder to recover at 29 than it is when you're 19. So again, there's still that question mark over Cameron Carter Vickers' long-term injury history and stuff like that. So I would like to see us definitely moving in and getting another centre half as well.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well said, Gerry. Centre half position. What are you thinking? As is, or is there a couple out there you've got your eye on?
I think we need another centre half, mate. Just a bit different, somebody a bit nastier. As for Starfelt, when he played with Vickers and stuff, Vickers attacked the ball, Paddy. I felt Starfelt was maybe like a bit of a sweeper, but no officially a sweeper, But the old sweeper's been. If I had my way, I'd bring back the sweeper, Scott, especially in Europe. Covering the gaps we leave. Because as soon as your two centre halves are together and leave that gap, striker gets one chance in Europe, it's a goal. So for me, a sweeper kind of sits behind and just covers the centre half's mistakes. But nobody, the old sweeper days are by. Maybe I'll start a campaign to bring back the sweeper, I like the sweeper behind, picking up the mistakes for the big centre halves.
See what Baresi's up to, mate.
To me, Vickers, I don't know what I'm going to get again, the injuries wise, and that we can't go into the season expecting the big man to do it. So for me, another centre half comes in. As Paddy saying, see, like people like the boy Murray, Paddy, it's one of the ones who made mistakes against Hearts, but is this on him, or is it the way the managers want to play nowadays? Bring the ball down and play football. Do you understand? Where if you just brought it down and cleared that, you're not going to make as many mistakes as bringing it down and trying to play football. So I think that's the way they play football now. That's why more defenders make more mistakes now, if I'm being honest, than they used to. Because the defenders just cleared the ball. So when you're having a ball playing centre half, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to get caught a couple of times, And the quality of teams you play against, then there's more chance of goal with better strikers. The teams like Aberdeen and stuff need 3 or 4 chances maybe to get a goal, so you can make more mistakes a wee bit more. So for me, I'd like to see another centre half in. For me, quick centre half, maybe a bit more nastier, But for me, I just thought maybe Vickers will come back and fall right back into play, Scott. And Paddy says Scales, I said that before, Scales, Meader and Engels was the turning point for me for the last 7 games, Scales took it upon himself to put himself about and drove us over the line as well. So big Scales has improved there. So I'm happy with bringing another centre half for me, mate.
Aye, bang on, mate. Uncle Stu's getting his excuses in for the quiz already, trying to say his bloody internet's buffering and all that. See what he's trying to do there, lads.
I sold him the internet for 20 a month.
Gerry's an internet agent now. He's that fly. He comes on it at 5:10 now instead of fucking 5 past. Stephen, is the answer for our new centre half staring us right in the face? Maybe Big Naroki.
Well, we spoke about him last Friday, didn't we? I liked him. I liked him every time he came in. I seen a player in him. But the managers see them day in, day out. We only see them when they get put on the park. So what do they see that we don't see, sort of thing?
Yeah.
But what the other two say, I think even if it's just for a numbers game, we definitely need a good quality centre back. For injuries, we don't know what Cat Vickers is going to be like when he comes back. I don't really want to see another full season of Trusty and Scales together. I think Trustees that can blow hot or cold. You know what I mean? Sometimes you see him having a brilliant game. Sometimes you see him, he doesn't look that interested, or he gets caught in the ball. So, we definitely need to strengthen. If it's for numbers anyway, we need to. I don't. Is Narowski coming back?
Aye.
Aye. Well, you never know. But he might come. He might be at what you're saying. He might be what we're looking for.
Yeah.
He might have went to Germany and came back better than what he left. But for numbers for that list that you had up there, we do need at least one, and maybe even a couple.
Aye, bang on, lads, bang on. So probably to one of our strongest positions now, but I've seen Araujo get mentioned quite a bit, Paddy. And but does he squeeze in there in front of Alistair Johnston, or do we see one or two? Maybe this is time for Ralston to leave the club, maybe, or we Donovan out on loan. There's loads of permutations here as well, mate, when it comes to the right backs.
Sure is, Scott. And I mean, Araujo was, Gerry will say the same as Srirachi. The guy was different class, and he just got it from a guy that never knew. He admitted he never knew anything about Scottish football until he arrived in Glasgow. He got it pretty quickly, and he bonded with the team, and he certainly bonded with the supporters. His goal at Kilmarnock in the last minute of stoppage time will live long in the memory. When we look back, in a few years' time, we look back at games that turned this title our way. That was definitely one of them. Probably one of the poorest performances we had in the first half, but we turned it around in the second, and Araujo was a massive part of that. He was unfortunate that he picked up a bit of an injury and stuff like that, and obviously because he was on loan, he went back to Bournemouth to get treatment and stuff. But I would be happy enough with the right back, Scott. All that being said, if we could maybe get Araujo back, it would maybe allow us to send the likes of young Colby Donovan out on loan for half a season to get him a bit more game time. Because it is, as Gerry said about Srirachi, it's difficult to get these guys game time when you're going from Saturday to Wednesday to Sunday and you're playing games constantly. But you need to win. So sometimes the ability to blood young players, it's not just as cut and dried as some people would have believed. But I think we need 2 or 3 players for that position. Listen, if we start the season with those 3 guys, I'd be happy enough. I'd be absolutely happy. I don't think we would need any more in that, but just for the purposes of getting Araujo back again, if we could get him back on a season-long loan, I would absolutely take him in a heartbeat to allow us to maybe, Motherwell could use a player, Hibs could use a player. There's places we could send Colby Donovan out to get a bit of game time and just allow him to build himself up in terms of building his body up and and building up his physique a wee bit. The young lad definitely has a big future ahead of him, but again, as Gerry said, there comes a time where you need to give young guys a game. You have to give them a game. So I would love to see us bringing Araujo back, but if we didn't manage to bring him back, I'd be quite happy with those 3. I wouldn't be looking at bringing in another right back, because obviously if he stays injury free, Alistair Johnston is your first choice right back, and nobody's taking him out of that. That's the only reason Araujo was there in the first place. It was because Johnston was injured. So obviously, if we start the season with those 3, I'd be happy enough. But if we could maybe bring Araujo back for a season-long loan, it would free us up to maybe allow Colby Donovan maybe to go. There's plenty of places, that he could go to. Mark Wilson, I'm sure, would take him at Partick Thistle. I know Scott Brown, when he was at Ayr, they were looking for young players. So, but as the squad goes, Scott, I'd be happy enough with those 3. If we started the season, we're not any weaker there. Yeah,
we are very strong there, Gerry. But if we could get Araujo in for a loan to buy deal for next season, that would be pulling West Brom's pants down, mate. So we would. He's that good a player. How are you seeing the right back position, mate?
You say about Johnson, you know what I mean, mate? He's not going to get moved out there. And this is you're trying to bring another right back in to cover. It's a hard one, I'll talk about the same side with Sarachi bringing in quality. You got Ejo at Bournemouth in it. He's got to come back.
Sorry.
Is he going to sit the bench or sit as a cover? No, I just can't see it, mate. I know a lot of these English clubs and all that with all the money in the world making pay for these 2 or 3 of these guys to sit in their squads, mate. With Scottish football, can we sit with this quality on the bench? I don't know. It's a hard one for me because the quality of players and Johnson's quality, and I keep move one of them to right midfield now. I'm moving them all. I'm trying to get them games and moving them into midfield, keep them all happy. That's what I'm trying to do here. But just years ago, your cover was maybe something in the reserve squad or one of the young guys, and now we're trying to bring in quality international players to play cover in the SPL. It's a hard one for me. It's a hard one. Because Johnson and all was a great thing. We talk about Engels and Meader. With Johnson come back for injury was massive for Celtic at the end there. You see the difference, Guy's fucking quality. And these guys on our contract, you're looking at moving into the captain's job, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be. Then again, he could go away in the World Cup, by the way, and have a cracking World Cup, and
Absolutely.
he might not
Yeah.
be here. For Celtic have plan B, where he's going to come back up again because of Johnston. Because, even the Canadians used to laugh at football, Canada, years ago, but they're actually a very good outfit now, Canada.
Yeah.
Not going to World Cup, so. But it's just hard to get absolute quality, mate, into second to play basically number 2 up here, personally. As Paddy says, that Kilmarnock goal will, and honestly, some folks says you're spot on. It's one of the late goals that won us the league, mate. It was just probably the latest goal that won us the league. It was fucking tremendous, And the same again, we talked about loan players, we talked about Sarachi that side. The wee guy bought into it and Austria away, mate.
Yeah.
He bought into it. That just shows you. We know the money's not the same as what they'll get down there. Nobody's ever gonna. We know that, but fucking hell, to play for Celtic and 12,000-14,000 at Bournemouth, a well played today, son. To come on, the fan. That's money can't buy, Scott.
Yeah.
Money can't buy that, mate. They can't buy the passion we have for our club, and sometimes that you hope that gets it over the line for them to stay. You just don't get that here. You don't get that, and a lot of English clubs are jealous. We have that.
Yeah.
With that fucking passion, and so. But as I say, mate, you can only hope we can get guys like this. But it's hard to think at that level, at that kind of cracking players playing second. And I know it's all about competition, and that's the way it should be. But I just don't know, mate. But Johnson, you never know, mate. A good money comes in for him in the World Cup. We could be changing places, so we'll have to sit and watch that. But we'll say watch that at 3-4 in the morning. I don't know, but we'll see. I don't even know what the Canadian kick-offs are, but the Scotland ones, the Morocco's 11 o'clock in it on Friday. That's about the only one I think. 3 in the morning. Okay.
Just get the red wine stocked up, Gerry. You'll be fine. Don't you?
I'll be setting the alarm up.
Set the alarm for 2 in the morning when you've crashed it in the couch, mate. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
That's probably a better idea, mate.
Stephen, right back position, mate. How's it looking for you?
2 guys have covered it. Araujo, I would love him. I loved him when he came in when Johnson was out, but he's too good to play a backup, or Johnson's too good to play backup to him. However, you would see it. I can't see it happening. But we're all right. If Johnson stays, I was thinking about what Gerry was saying there before he mentioned it. I was thinking if he's one that if he has a good World Cup, people will be sniffing about him without a shadow of a doubt. They'll see how good he's done here. So if we can keep a hold of Johnson, and keep a hold of him, I would be confident going into the start of the season with the 3 that we've got. Although I loved Araujo when he came up, he's too good a player to sit on the bench, or Johnson to sit on the bench if you were going to play Araujo. Do you know what I mean? So no, I would be happy. I'd be happy to go with the 3 that we've got.
Yeah, I think that's the case
Sorry,
with everybody in the chat as well. Yep, Gerry.
Just sorry, Scott, for hanging. Just you're saying there, Stephen, that just shows you about the scouts for England, the embarrassment. Johnson's outstanding the SPL every week, right? We could play one cracking game for Canada and they want to buy him, mate. Because that's what they do, you know. You just start one wee game in the World Cup, 2 games, and it's like, who's this guy? Where they kind of see they watching the SPL, you don't they look upon it. If you do well in Europe or the World Cup, you'll get that move, you know.
It's the same when you go up a level, Gerry. If you look at Nicholas Kuhn and Matt O'Reilly, Nicholas Kuhn and Matt O'Reilly didn't get big moves because of what they were doing in Scotland. They got big moves because they did it in the Champions League, and that's the level that, you know, because we don't get any credit for the awards that we win and the trophies that we win here in Scotland. It's whenever our players take a step up, either international level or up to the Champions League. That's what makes a difference. And the form that Nicholas Kuhn showed in the Champions League and the form that Matt O'Reilly showed in the Champions League was enough for those big clubs to say, yep, we will fork out big money for them.
Yeah, bang on, lads. Absolutely bang on. So let's get to the crux of the matter for me, is this position here, Paddy, the middle of the park. I think this is definitely, we need to get every position right, obviously, but for me, this is the most important, the engine room. You know, there's talk here, man, Engels, you know, big money's going to come in for that boy. There's no doubt about it. Hatate looks 100% away. Paulo Bernardo, he's just not getting a kick, is he? I think that'll be him away as well. What are you thinking there, mate? A few of the Motherwell boys mentioned already, your Watts and your Justs and boys like that. Do you think we should start going Scottish, get these boys in? 2 top quality players, obviously. Is there any other centre midfielders you've got your eye on as well? And what are you thinking about departures, mate?
Well, when you look at that list, Scott, you know, the smart money on these people who know a lot better than we do, I suppose to. You could be looking at Celtic only being left with 2 players out of that list of 6 there that are on the screen. I would say at this minute in time, the only ones that you're absolutely certain to be at Celtic Park next year will be Callum McGregor and Luke McCowan. Negrin, again, off to the World Cup. Hatate, I think he's already checked out. Arnie Engels, we've turned down money from Forest for him in January. There's talk about the Forest coming back in with a bigger bid. There's even talk about interest in him from AC Milan. And Paulo Bernardo was just the one that I just don't know what's happened. This guy, he's just disappeared off the radar. And again, you know, Brendan Rodgers, you know, Martin O'Neill, Wilfred Nunsey, none of them seem to be able to solve the puzzle where Bernardo was concerned. So I think this is the one, Scott, that's going to make or break us. The midfield is going to be key for us. What we do this summer, it'll depend on the players coming in. Will depend on the players that we either move on or we keep. Obviously, if we can hold on to Negron, if we hold on to Engels, that changes everything. I do think Hatate will go. I think he's already gone in his own head and has been for quite some time. But you know, you're looking at, you know, possibly Bernardo maybe going as well. You know, but as I say, if we could hang on to sort of 3 or 4 of those guys, you know, that would allow us. Again, I was just actually going to say that Josh Mulligan from Hibs is a guy that has always impressed me. There's a couple of the guys. The guy Slattery at Motherwell for me was sensational this season as well. As well as Elliot Watt and the wee guy Just from New Zealand. They were cracking players as well. Again, just, you know, Calvin Miller signed for Hearts the other day. Falkirk had some cracking young lads as well. There's some young lads in the middle of the field and some young wide players as well. But I think this is going to be a wait and see, Scott, because we're going to have to wait and see just exactly who comes and who goes. And we might have to wait, Scott, right into the season could be more or less ready to start, because if Sweden and Negron go deep in the World Cup, you know what I mean, Alistair Johnson again, and with Canada as well, you know, these guys, we're going to have to see how the World Cup pans out, because there's absolutely no doubt in my mind, players that we're not even thinking about at the minute, if they go there and stand out in the World Cup, that's when the big teams will start coming around and offering silly money. So I think with this one here, we really need to see who we have left and what the players are saying behind the scenes. The one that I would draw attention to is Callum McGregor. You know, again, there was talk about Callum going out to Saudi to play for Brendan Rodgers. You would just hope that, again, Martin O'Neill getting the job will be enough to keep Callum here. Obviously, if Callum stays, you would think he'd be here to the end of his career. But you know, I just wouldn't be 100% certain of that either. You know, the money that's on offer out there, as Gerry says, you know, the chance to go there for a couple of years and set yourself for life. Who knows what he's thinking is. So But for me, the one it's going to be, I think the midfield there's going to be a revolving door at the front of Celtic Park this summer, just to deal with the number of midfielders that are going and the midfielders that might need to come in. Because when you look at that list, we could be left very, very light. On the other hand, we could be left with 3 or 4 really quality players. As I say, I just think I've said all along this season that I thought Negrin, there was more from him. There was definitely room for development there, and I would like to see him going, giving us another 10%. Let's see how he does this summer at the World Cup, and you may see the real Negrin this summer, because obviously Sweden play him in a kind of a different role. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does at the World Cup, and let's just hope that some of the big European teams don't come with a pot of money to take him away. But the midfield is going to be very, very key to see what happens there.
Yeah, Gerry, there's certainly going to be a massive change in the engine room for sure, as we all know. Who are you keeping? Who are you getting rid of? And who would you like to see coming in?
He says only McGregor and McKibben looks the only two now, mate. Bernardo's just don't know what's happening, because we're all thinking he was going to kick on, didn't we? And it's just stalled his whole. Simon's just stalled. Very surprising, because I thought he'd everything, Bernardo. That's a surprise one for me. But listen, that's what happens with managers, teams, and different things happen, But for me, Hatate has always been the one. He's the best midfielder at the club. He is. He's what I'm talking about, lads. And if Hatate if he feels that he wants to play, Scott, and he's in the mood, there's nobody better. But then you just don't know what you're getting. But you know what you're getting after 5 minutes from him, if he can be fucked or not. And that's the thing was strange about Hatate, because you're just like, can I be fucked today, or can I? The guy, to me, he'd both feet, he could shield the boy. To me, the guy was class, but now it's just time to move on. It's just, that's what it is now. And listen, I'm going to say what everybody else is thinking and saying. We all talked about it for months and years. We know a young Wanyama, that type of guy. We know something about a steel. Where are they? But where are these guys? No. We need we get bullied a lot. I felt teams Rangers. I know we pulled out results against Rangers at Ibrox, but they bullied us, And for me, we need that guy who's fucking got to be in there with McGregor. Let McGregor do his bit, and he can take care of the fucking dirty side of it, Mention a guy, I'm not going to say when he got that kind of guy, but I know Big Goggage at St Mirren, mate. See that big kind of guy in the SPL? Listen, he's not good enough. Folk will say he's not good enough for Europe, right? But Celtic don't degrade in Europe anyway. We're talking the SPL here. And I'm thinking guys like him that's in there who'll fucking in there and putting it about a bit, especially the away games, away to Tynecastle, Pittodrie. And that's on top of these places, Scott. Pittodrie, Tynecastle, Ibrox, Sriracha playing in the midfield, mate. Gives a bit more. I'm always wanting to dig first, then the wingers can come on when the game kind of quiets down a bit and they get a bit more time to get playing a bit. For me, we need that solid midfielder in there, mate. I know they cost a few quid, but somebody who's puts it about and just he's got everything about him. Says everything, but I know coming to SPL again, I don't know, I'm just saying somebody that kind of tight, mate, midfielder in there. But listen, as I said before when I started hanging, I knew, is Neil going to get the same power, mate, as Neil knows what we need. He knew Rangers bullied us for years. The first thing he done was brought in guys, mate, and matched that. And he's matched it for the last 20 odd years. So for me and Neil will know what we need now. Then this loan stuff. That loan carry on was an embarrassment the last that one in January, mate. That there can't happen again. It's got to be players. We'll know after the signings that start coming in, we know who's in command again now. We'll know ourselves, Scott, who the fuck's pulling it. And Neil, maybe that's what Neil stalled after the Hearts game. Maybe Neil's wanted to say, aye, there were no many loan players, it's going back to the way I wanted it in the first place. And so that was a good sign, mate.
Aye, yeah, his team back in the day, Stephen, was just full of big, strong bastards, man, and that's exactly what we need, your Mialbes, Valharins, all these...
midfielder, brilliant.
Oh,
brilliant.
man, that team. If we could mould this team on that team, then that would do us, Stephen. What are you thinking central midfielder wise, mate?
Well, what they said, it's our current squad depth. That's a new, but what is that going to be after the summer? We just don't know.
Yeah.
We were going to. I was saying towards the end of the last season, I thought our midfield was really slow anyway. I think we were needing to inject something into it. What are we going to have at the start of next season? I think it's clear there's going to be a huge uphaul anyway. There's going to be loads going out. So we're going to need a few coming in for the ones that are going out. So that's where the biggest overhaul is going to come this summer. We just don't know what we're going to get left with after this World Cup and before the pre-season. But I hope any business, it never seems to happen with Celtic, but I hope any business that gets done straight after the World Cup so we can get it all done. Get guys that in with a pre-season and Martin O'Neill's new ideas and get his ideas onto the park straight away. We always leave things to the very last minute and it's torture sometimes. Sometimes it's hard watching. But I think there's going to be a lot of business. I think there is. And as I've said it, we might only be left with two. And I don't like talking about Emdet Paul's on a jersey. I don't think Luke McCown's. I wouldn't like to rely on him as a first choice midfielder. And I don't want to be negative about him, do you know what I'm saying? Because I've been a date with Emdet. I just don't think there's. I would like to see better than him. So I think we need. That's our biggest area to work on at the summer. And as you said, Martin O'Neill, he knows the kind of player he likes. He knows how to set up a team. He knows how to build a team around what he's got. And I think he'll be concentrating on the midfield this summer and all. Hope he does.
Aye, mate, it's definitely going to be the biggest overhaul in that engine room for sure. So let's move on to the left wingers now, Paddy. We spoke about Jota earlier. Obviously, a massive blow. He's going to be out for, October minimum. Let's not talk about the next guy. The guy after him, Tuneke, Gerry's favourite left winger of all time. And Palma, when I drew the list up, he was still in the squad, but as we know, he's now departed the building as well. Again, that's going to need a wee bit of an overhaul there. We also know that obviously Maeda can play out there, but it looks like he's for the Leofsky as well. We'll all get on to him, but what are you thinking left winger wise? And is there anybody that's caught your eye that you'd like to bring in?
The left wing, Scott's the one that's going to be similar to the middle of the field, in that we really don't have anybody. For me, if you start the season with Sebastian Tuneke as your only left winger, well, then you're in trouble. Because to me, the guy just doesn't. He doesn't look as though he belongs in the first team just at the minute. He flatters to deceive. He's got wee flicks and tricks, and he's capable of scoring the odd goal here and there. But for me, he just doesn't work hard enough back the way. We said it before. At the end of the season, you can't have Yang, Negrin, and Tuneke in the same team. You just can't, because you don't have enough work rate. It just kills the whole. It kills the rest of the right-hand side of the defence. It kills the midfield. So to me, Tuneke he really does need to up his game. Do I think there's a room for development for him? Absolutely. I think there's a player in there. I just think with the way the season went and with Nancy coming in and the whole thing, the pressurised environment, he maybe didn't get the games, or he didn't get picking and choosing the games that we needed to use him in. To me, he seemed, as the season wore on, Tuneke became more of an impact sub. That's what he looked like to me. Not a starter. Absolutely not a starter. You could count in one hand how many times he played well. Look how many times he started the game and he was taken off at half time. That happened on more than one occasion. But yet he came in the second half, the Kilmarnock game that we spoke about, that Araujo scored. Tuneke was sensational in that game. So to me, he looks like an impact sub. So for me, I think we're looking at bringing in at least two players that can play on the left hand side. Again, Scott, I'm not entirely sure of some of the names, but the Falkirk team, the Motherwell team, they really, really impressed me. Those young guys, full of running, full of speed, full of drive and intensity. So there are young Scottish players that are out there. But again, if we have ambitions of doing anything in Europe, and even just qualifying and getting into the next stages or whatever, you're looking at probably bringing somebody in from abroad. So that's one that we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. Again, it's another area. When I was looking at the fixtures in the World Cup, I thought, right, I'm going to have a wee look and see what sort of left-sided players are out there, because there's a lot of these nations, as Gerry said, like maybe 10, 15 years ago you wouldn't have looked at them, but the likes of Canada and places like that, you're going to be looking at these players now. Even the likes of Japan and stuff like that, there are players there that maybe we could bring in. But the left wing is one that we're very, very short, because we've spoken at length about Jota. I just think you can. I think you can write Jota off at least until early next year. I don't see Jota. I don't see Jota being back in time for the pre-season, or maybe Martin O'Neill mentioned something about maybe a Halloween time or whatever. But if that's the case, by the time he gets anywhere close to being fit, you could be talking end of January 27 or whatever. I don't see him coming back. Balikwisha is another one. I honestly don't know what ever happened with that guy or what was the story with him. But again, similar to what we said about one or two others there, the managers that were all involved this season, and we had 4 different managers at one point, including Martin O'Neill twice, and none of them seemed to take to him and none of them seemed to play him. So I don't know what's going to happen with him there. And as you said, Lewis Palma for me was always going to come back, but then they've triggered the fee for him, and I'm glad, because I just think he was too lightweight. He was too, he was never ever a Celtic winger in terms of he had no pace. You can't play out in the left wing unless you have a bit of speed, and Palma was certainly not that. So left wing is going to be paramount for us as well, Scott.
Yeah, Gerry, what's your thoughts on the left wing position?
Scott, it's like as if you pay up to 5 million and you just get wingers who just can't do it. I know it sounds daft, but what I'm saying is they cut back. They don't. She's a striker. A striker must be fucking. He'd be going. They don't whip the ball in first time, Scott. When you go to get away for a defender and you make that run and they cut back on themselves, that's a run done now. And to me, a lot of wingers now are just no direct the way they used to be. I mean, I remember Owen Archdeacon or that, Paddy. He would thrive now in football. No, just the guy just ran at folk every day, all day.
Yep.
All right, wasn't the best, but he ran at folk. And see, somebody runs at a right back all the time, mate. For me, the wingers now, they go and they stop and they start and they go back the way too much. Keep the ball, Scott. Possession football. For me, the wingers need to be a bit more get by the man and whip it in or whatever straight away, get the striker and tap the ball, For me, this is Palmer done the same thing as Tenecti. There's something similar. You thought they were going to put the ball in, and it was an RB turn back on again, So me, the wingers need to, listen, it's a hard game and all wingers. They need to be, as soon as you buy the guy the first 5 minutes, Scott, their confidence goes up. Wingers are very confident people and they need to be confident to get by the guys, but for me the wingers are not the way they used to be wingers, It's like cutting inside too much. See, they get into the byline and their final balls, sometimes final ball's terrible, mate. For the price you're paying, you're thinking, as I say, for a striker, I don't know how many times, then strikers don't moan either now at them. There's not much. It's changed days, I suppose you would say, innit? It's changed days. But I know folk are saying about Jota. I think we had the talk on Jota, the last pod, and Paddy, I think we'd only sell Stephen as well. We can't depend on Jota. We can't, and we're not want to jump too ahead of ourselves, but when it comes to the turning and twisting with the knees and the joint, it's not looking good for him. Hopefully it proves us wrong, Scott, but it's back to the one with CCV, Jota, even Callum Osborne, mate, up front. We can't depend on these 3 guys and no sign 3 folk to cover these positions.
Yeah.
We've got to go out and buy a new winger. We've got to. Who's going to be a bit more direct, get the balls in quicker. Just, and it's, to me that's better than being a bit more defensive. That's what midfielders there for. Don't let them keep the ball in. It's drummed into you now, Scott, at that level. Keep the ball, Possession football. It's took away. Let's be honest, when you used to go to football, we didn't go and say, that centre half was brilliant, did we? Or it was always a striker or a winger. That's what you fucking watch football for. You know, mate, you fell in love with these guys, and that's you need to bring back the wingers that are going to be a bit more direct, mate, and a bit more about themselves.
Here's one for you, Stephen. I'm going to throw a wee spanner in the works here for everybody. Martin O'Neill's got the job permanently now. Does he go back to the early 2000s and go as a 3-5-2
5-2.
and maybe play with wing backs? Maybe we don't need wingers anymore. Maybe we'll go with the wing backs. There's a wee shout.
Get Sriracha in on the left there.
That's
There's
it.
a wee shout for everybody.
We'll no need Jota back in. Was it? I think it was Pep Guardiola or something. So that one good manager comes in and changes football for all the teams. I love Martin O'Neill's 3-5-2. But then if he does that, that gives us another headache. What 3 centre backs are we going to play? Fucking hell.
Move KT in.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm getting distracted. The left wing. See, we want to see
if throw a spanner in the works, Stephen. I apologise about that.
I know. I've been trying to think what I'm going to say, and then you just threw a curveball. See, to be honest, Jota, we kind of know. We don't know what he's going to be like coming back. And remember, I said last week, I hope tonight he goes away at the World Cup and comes back a better player. But my brother, I don't know if you noticed, my brother popped into the chat. And I don't know if he was having a laugh or no, but he said bring Paddy McCourt back, right? I hope he was having. I would take Paddy McCourt right in front of him that's on that list now, and I'm not even kidding. I hope he was joking. You better be, Peter. The left wing. We need. That needs a. We need to strengthen there big time. You know, if we get somebody decent in. And towards later on in the year, maybe the start of next year, if Jota comes back and is anywhere near the player that we've all seen, then we'll see that as a bonus. But we need somebody decent because like Gerry, Paddy was saying sorry, or Gerry, I know. Our wingers just aren't supplying the attack. They're not putting crosses into the box. The way we've been playing football, it's been murder. It's not. We're not getting the wingers haven't been doing a job that they're actually been fucking put on the park today. But I think we need a new left side. Matter of fact, when we go to talk about the right side and all, I think we just our whole full midfield. We just need everything. We honestly do, in my opinion.
Aye, definitely, mate. It's for me. I would go back to the 3-5-2 for sure. Gerry, go for it. Sorry.
No, somebody mentioned Ben Doak there. Scott, no, let him go to it. Well, went away too early. We've actually lost somebody to Liverpool today again, a youth player, and that just shows you now the days of Kenny Leishstein and scoring over 100 goals and going to Liverpool. No, everything's made himself. The guys are just getting away now. The youth players are just the money now they're just getting offered is just and they're away if it even established themselves at Celtic. I don't know if Celtic can do it to keep these boys, you know. It's a hard one.
Aye.
They're most of them every time now.
Well, we'll maybe speak about that next Friday, the youth thing. I know when we had Andy on, he was big on that, and it's something that we've not touched on for a while. So that's something we might have a wee chat about next Friday, lads. Right wingers now, Paddy.
Yep.
Again, it's a side. I threw a wee spanner in the works there. You know, you could have Sriracha as your left wing back. You could have Araujo as your right wing back.
Yep.
Move Kieran Tierney in with two cracking centre halves. It's an option, but looking at the right wingers that we've got now, we certainly need another one, don't we?
Absolutely, Scott. We're so thin on the ground. They're both left and right side. You know, and as Gerry said, even towards the end of the season, there, the final ball on both sides, from no matter who was playing out on the left and the right, was very, very poor. For me, the only one who puts in regular quality on the right hand side is James Forrest. James is the only one who puts in the quality. You saw the goalie set up for Iheanacho in the Scottish Cup semi-final. You know, got to the byline, dropped the shoulder, floated a lovely ball over, and Iheanacho beat the goalkeeper. And that wasn't any great. It wasn't any great skill involved there. It was just James using his experience. He just go create a yard of space and go by the man and put a lovely ball into the box. So for me, I just think you can't keep relying on James Forrest. I mean, he's going to be another year older. What he done this season was just sensational for a guy of his age. As I've said to you before, James has become a very clever player, and he's used the fact that he's getting a bit older now he paces himself and he picks his battles now where before he was running constantly at the defenders. But James, he knows how to play the game now. Yang for me was one of the most improved players. Really was in the second half of the season. I thought Yang is terrific for us. Really did. What I liked about him was it didn't always work for him. Sometimes, as Gerry said, if the fullback gets the better of him and he loses the ball, it can affect him confidence-wise. But Yang kept going and he kept going and he kept going back and back. And that's what you have to do, as Gerry will tell you, as a winger, you have to go and you have to keep going. You see, once you drop the head and think, this guy's getting the better of me, you might as well come off. But I like what I saw from Yang. The one thing that he does need to work on, he needs to work on his final ball. He absolutely needs to work on the final ball. Some of the goals that he scored, the goal against Rangers at Celtic Park in the game that we lost was just sensational, and that shows you that he does have it in him. He really does have that ability. So Yang has the potential and the ability to make the right hand side his own. There's no doubt about that. But again, with just based on the fact that James is going to be another year older, we absolutely need to be looking at bringing in another right-sided player there. We need somebody to come in there. Like if you look at players that we signed in the caliber of the past, like Scott Sinclair, winger, that's the kind of quality player we need to be looking at. We need to be bringing in a top-class proven player. Not one of these guys that's 34, 35 and there's only a year and a half left or whatever. We need to be bringing in somebody 27, 28 years of age who's still at the top of his game. As I say, similar to the likes of Scott Sinclair and stuff like that. Those are the caliber of players that we need to be looking at for that right-hand side, because the one thing we've always had good wingers and we've always had good strikers. And unfortunately, at the minute, we're a bit sort of shy in that department. So I definitely would like to see us going out, as Gerry said, and break the bank if necessary. Push the boat out a bit, £5-6 million. Go and get yourself a winger that's playing in Sweden or playing in France or playing in Germany or somewhere like that. There, get out and get us a decent winger. No more of these prospect players that might turn into a good player, whatever. Get somebody who's a proven winger. The one man I'll always say to you, and I've said to you many, many times before, I can't understand why Celtic never took a look at Martin Boyd when he was with Hibs there. Martin Boyd would have been a terrific signing for us on more than one occasion, and we've left it now to the fact that he's in the twilight of his career and stuff like that. But Martin Boyd for me would have been one who. We talked about the Motherwell players, we talked about the Falkirk players. We don't pick up enough of the good young talent that's in Scottish football, and I think that's because there's been a bit of, there's maybe a bit of snobbery involved. If these guys don't cost $5 million from Europe, they're no good to you. But Martin Boyle was always one that anytime I saw him playing for Hibs, it didn't matter who the opposition was. I thought he was a terrific player, and I thought he was a flying machine down the wing, and I thought he would have been a better option than some of the guys that we've had. Anybody trying to tell me that Martin Boyle wouldn't have been an upgrade on Balikwisha, wouldn't have been a better option than Balikwisha that he's given us, you know what I mean? So that was I just want to say that. But definitely on the right side, we're going to need to spend a bit of money there.
Paddy's made a good point there, Gerry, that we are running out of wingers, but maybe that is a good thing with the spanner I threw in the works. Maybe we don't need wingers. Maybe we need wing backs, that are going to be good at both sides of the job. And with them running out, your Sarachis, your Arojos coming in as wing backs. Maybe that's what Martin's plan is.
Well, especially in the away games, Scott. For me, Tynecastle, I say Ibrox, Pittodrie, the so-called harder games. To me, that's the ones you're starting the games. Win the battle first, mate. Then we can start playing the football. So definitely, it's a good line to hang me. I was hard on Yang, Tenecti and Negrin. I just don't feel as if the three of them together, you don't get that luxury to basically track back. You put more pressure on the midfield, But Yang at least tried for me. Yang tried, but the new we've got Yang and Forrest. Forrest is there now on. It's just now. Listen, he's great to have about the changing rooms and stuff, but surely we can't. Well, he's never let us down, but surely we can't turn to him to bail us out, with these other wingers there. Tenecti on the other side is obviously, for me, he's an impact player and always will be. A 15-minute cameo. But then Martin O'Neill kept falling for that because he done well. Then O'Neill would bring him back in starting again. You'd think anybody do nothing. That's just rang your wingers a wee bit. Listen, by those English clubs doing their slagging their wingers at 20 and 30 million.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. They're slagging their wingers.
Yeah.
We're slagging the guys at 2 million and 3 million. We're slagging these guys 5 million. I mean, to me, that's what you're getting the final product now. It's not the way it should be, you know. But we need to strengthen on that side as well. On the right side, we can't go on Yang, and whenever I think with Yang's effort was always there, you know. And as Paddy says, he scored a few cracking goals as well, you know. His effort's always there. And me, Forrest it's back to, we keep saying this is last year, and me man proves it again, but I mean, to have him about the changing rooms, I'm all for that as well, because you only learn for these guys, you know, Scott, having about the changing rooms. And that's what, no disrespect to Rangers across, they've not got guys like that, you know, where they can turn to so-called Celtic boys in that changing room. But we all know, but where do you pay with the Celtic pay to get a winger that can cross a decent ball? And that's the kind of money you're talking about now, as I say. The English boys are complaining about their wingers, and we're complaining about ours at the price we pay. So we've got to, but then it gets back to be producing for our own youths, mate, the wingers, you know, we used to do. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the answer will be there. But it'll cost a few quid as well for a right out and out decent winger, mate. So they will.
It certainly will. Is Araujo the answer, Stephen, or would you like to see us bring as an out and out right winger into the club?
I can know today. We'd definitely. Yang gets injured. We've got you'll not get a full game out of James Forrest. Never mind a full season. Do you know what I mean? Or for however. I would definitely need somebody in. Maybe Martin and Neil Bidgood in that. I really don't know, Scotty. I really don't know what to say apart from the whole part of the midfield wing. We need to strengthen. We need the numbers in. You can't. James Forrest has been a great servant to the club, but we are only going to get him for the last wee part of a game, and maybe not even every game. So you can't really rely on him as much as you would want to rely on a right winger. So I would definitely need to strengthen. And if I had to go for a 3-5-2, as you were saying, I'm trying to think as well. That position would suit Araujo better than Alistair Johnson. Johnson, I think, is more defensive side it rather than bombing right up the wing to put in the. Although he did do a good job, but for the right wing that we're talking about, I think it's clear. We need people for both wings, Scotty. We really do. And then whatever happens in the midfield, who's coming or gone. That's what I said last week. Remember when we were saying, will Martin and Neil be the right man for the job and all that? He's got to have his work cut out for him, because I think it's a full team that he needs to rebuild. I think we're speculating. I think he really needs to just wipe all the names off that board and pretty much start for the bones. We've not got really much. It's going to be a big job for him. It's a bit in the board, and listen, and the board need to back him and all. We've raked in the money over years and years and years, and they've just not reinvested it in the club. This is the season where it's paramount. After watching that team for the past season, Martin Neil just getting us out of the line. I think it's about time the board will say, wait, and we need to reinvest this money we've got. That team needs rebuilt. It needs rebuilt, and the right wing that we're talking about now definitely needs one or two in.
It certainly does, mate. It certainly does. So before we move on to the quiz, I had a who's that player for you as well, but time's getting on and I need to get to bloody Gibraltar soon as well. So we're just going to quickly have a quick chat about the strikers, and then we'll get into Gerry's quiz to finish us off. Okay. Paddy, again, we've not filled this position for 18 months since the wee man left. What was his name again? I can't even remember. What the hell? Kyogo. He's a forgotten soul in my head. Iniacho's obviously not in there. because he's obviously out of contract now and left the club. Same as Oxlade-Chamberlain, as he we didn't speak about him either. What are you thinking when you look at that list? The boy from Bodo Glimt is, I think, the one that most of us want to see come in, who done it against Man City, and we want a proven guy in.
Yeah.
This guy's been mentioned today as well, Tariq Arconte, who is tearing it up in League Two. So he's the latest guy that's been mentioned. What are you thinking, mate, about these strikers? Keep, get rid? What are you thinking?
Well, for a start, Scott, I don't see Johnny Kenny as an option, and I don't see Shin Yamada as an option either. They both had their opportunity, Scott, and it didn't work for them. I mean, when you think back to Wilfred Nancy, and this is the degree of sympathy that I do have for Wilfred Nancy from the time, if you look back to the United game that we lost in the middle of the week, we should have been 3 up at half time. Johnny Kenny missed three chances that any half decent Celtic striker over the last 30 years would have scored in their sleep. So he got his chance, didn't take it, simply not good enough. Yamada for me was the same, brought in from wherever. Obviously, you're looking at maybe Dyson might stay. If he stays, that would be fantastic. I would love nothing better than to hear that Dyson has signed a new deal. But again, I suppose no matter what happens, it's going to be after the World Cup. Callum Osmond for me, yes, definitely showed enough before he got injured, and especially after he got injured. Even just his contribution in the games that he played towards the end of the season there, especially in the Hearts game. The wee man came on and helped to turn the match for us. So definitely Callum Osmond. So this is the one for me where I think this summer we need to do similar to what we did with Engels and Odsonne-Edouard. We need to go out and get ourselves a goal scorer. It's as simple as that. If it costs 10 million, if it costs 15 million, whatever, we need to go out and get ourselves a goal scorer. Somebody that Martin O'Neill can hang his hat on at the beginning of August and say, you see, no matter what happens, this guy will buy me in 25 or 30 goals next season. I've said it before, Scott, and I'll say it again. We grew up watching Celtic strikers, and you just simply cannot play up front for Celtic and not be a goal scorer. It just doesn't work. It goes with the territory. We grew up watching Charlie Nicholas. We grew up watching Frank McGarvey, George McCluskey. Do you know what I mean? Then the latter day strikers that we had, do you know what I mean? Scott Sinclair, Moussa Dembele. The numbers are just off the scale. Jacob Marcus, all the good strikers that we had. And unfortunately, that's the one area at the minute that we really are light on at the minute. So I would like to see us really going and get somebody that can guarantee his goals. People say that you can't get players to come to Scotland and stuff like that. And I agree. There's a struggle up to the point, but again, you're looking at, we can offer them Champions League football. We can offer them a bigger stage. We can offer them the chance to win medals and win trophies. So the right players are out there somewhere. It's just a question of going and finding them. The guy from Bodo Glimt looked really good. I saw him play a few European games. He looked really, really good. So it's one of the areas, Scott, where we're very, very light, and we could be about to get lighter. As Kev said, Maida could be sold. And if Maida's sold, you're really left with Callum Osmond as the only one on that list. So really and truly, we need to go out and get ourselves a couple of strikers. Ian Atchell, for me, I would definitely offer him another year. I think he's done enough to warrant at least another year. I would love to see what he would look like with a full pre-season under his belt and a full summer with the rest of the squad and stuff like that. So you could also have him coming back as well. But we definitely need to go out and sign a couple of strikers, Scott, and we absolutely need to push the boat out. If we have to fork out 10 or 11 million on a striker, so be it. We did it with Engels and we did it with Edouard. There's no reason why we can't do it again.
If anybody knows anything about strikers, it's the next man, Gerry McMillan. What a striker he was back in the day. Gerry, what you thinking, mate, when you're looking at that? Any actual bring him back in as well?
Yes. Oh, no doubt. Aye, straight away. Give him a year. Give him a good pre-season, mate. He was the one with the most composure, Scott, when it comes to it. That's what you need as a striker. There's no panicking. You need that. Maybe no doing nothing all game, mate. One chance, bang, goal. Back composure, mate. All strikers. But we've got to get the wingers to get the quality balls in as well, mate. Listen, I watched the Vardy hanging Netflix, mate. He's banging in goals for Fleetwood at 25-year-old. Gary Hooper scoring for Scunthorpe. You try to tell me there's nobody doing in the division, Scott, scoring 20 and 30 goals. Who? Get in there and get them. To me, there we go, obviously Osmond for Fulham. There must be guys there, mate. It can are going to be quality players coming up here and getting the goals. We've been crying out for a striker. As Paddy says, Paddy always mentioned Nicholas McGarvey. I'll go into McAvenny,
Yeah.
Tommy Coyne. I'll drop down a few years, Paddy. I'm a couple
Andy Walker.
of
Andy
weeks
Walker.
younger than you.
Andy
A wee
Walker,
bit.
that.
I'm a couple of weeks younger. They were spoiled. They say you went to the games, they were your heroes. The strikers were your heroes, Scott. And the supporters, young supporters that got to the game the last wee while, they've not had that guy to hang me on, and it's a right in Celtic Park to have that striker. And strikers cost money, mate, because the hardest thing in football is putting the ball in the net. And they're going to cost you a few more quid, mate. But we've got to get this guy in for the club, and a poacher type who were maybe struggling in the game, Scott, and next minute, one chance, bang, goal. No 4 and 5 chances. That one chance goal. And Celtic, no more excuses after this transfer, and through a few, and we've always went in, I think, for the guys are maybe not going to come, and we're chasing our tail a bit. There must be guys that are going to come straight away, mate. For me, go and get them. The club is desperate for a striker. See if the striker in this year, mate, the league wouldn't have went to that situation, They wouldn't have went to as long on as that. Striker would have put us far ahead. The league wouldn't buy well before, for me. And I know wee Kyogo sometimes needed a few chances to get a goals. And understandable, but to get that striker, there must be somebody out there. And we're desperate for him. Fans are desperate for him. The club's desperate for him. We need that striker. Celtic's always had that striker. We've always just loved, mate. And we need him this year. Must be somebody there.
We need a bit of Bonnie Tyler, don't we, Stephen? We need a hero.
We certainly do. We've played full season with one. Our best striker was Maeda, who's a left winger.
Yeah.
Our best striker was a left winger. I don't know what happened to the scouting. We've picked up some cracking names. I've been watching the chat and I agree with all of them. Moussa Dembele, Gary Hooper was a great find. Edward, I know we got him, it was at PSG and he came for a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we always seem to sniff out a decent striker. Celtic have always had decent strikers. We've played a full season there without one. A full season. Adam Ida, right at the last minute, and left us without a striker. That wee Osmond's coming up with a bit of reputation out. I know we lost him for a fair bit of the season for injury and all that, and he looks as though he wants to try, but we need... I don't even care if it's big money. I don't want a big marquee signing Celtic new striker. I would bite your hand off for another Gary Hooper. Bite your hand off for another one. Came from nowhere, no a lot of money. But then he chased the money as well. He went back down to England for the money and he wanted an England cap and all that. Went down to Norwich and never seen him kick a ball again. So I think what's happening to the scouting? We always fund a decent striker and we just couldn't get one in there. Or the board when they spend the money on it. But we need a couple. We need a couple there as well. It just seems to be we need a couple of decent players for every position.
Aye, certainly do, mate. We certainly do. That's the guys' assessment of the squad, ladies and gentlemen. And it was good that he's all got involved as well in the chat. Like I said, we had a couple of segments for you tonight, but that one has ran a wee bit over. So, Gerry, you've got about 20 minutes max to try and get this out. It's now time for...
It's Gerry's big fat quiz.
Go for it, my man.
Quick question, what about Chamberlain? What about Chamberlain, lads? Would you give him an hour year?
Aye.
Chamberlain?
I would. Yeah, I would.
Give him an hour year?
I would. I thought it was quality.
I would give him an hour year, That's what
Yeah,
I was
pre-season.
talking about that. Right. So here we go, lads. I've done a kind of Celtic related World Cup kind of quiz. So Celtic players, obviously World Cup wise and that, alright?
Yeah, go for it.
So number one, lads, alright? How many World Cups did Kenny Dalglish play in? 2, 3, 4.
Lads, make sure your comments are off as well, please.
Oh shit, hold on, sorry.
How many World Cups did Gerry Dalglish play in? 2, 3 or 4?
I don't know. Who for that?
And we'll go to you, Scotty.
I went for 3, mate.
Paddy
I went for 2, Gerry.
and Stephen.
2.
So the answer, lads, is 3. And he was actually, well done, Scott. He got picked, and he got picked for the 86 one, but he pulled out with injury. They made it 4 lads, so he would have
Alright.
Dalglish for Scotland. So that'd been brilliant, you know. Henrik Larsson got a 3rd place bronze medal in which World Cup, lads?
Yeah.
1994, 1998, or 2002. Henrik Larsson got a bronze medal in 3rd place for Sweden. And well, you still thinking, Paddy, are you?
No. I've got mine now, Gerry.
So I'll go to you first, Stephen.
94.
94. And Paddy.
I went for 1994.
And Scotty.
100% 94, mate.
Aye. 94 lads against Bulgaria. They won 4-0. Henry got a goal that time and all. So number 3, lads. This is for you, Paddy. Mix up guys know Scotland. How many players played for Celtic that played for Ireland against Italy in that opening win in 1994, the 1-0 game, where a Glasgow boy got the goal? So you know what game I'm talking about, didn't you? They beat Italy in
Yeah.
94.
Ray Houghton.
Three Celtic players played,
Uh-huh.
and I'll give you a point for each one.
Right.
Three players that have played for Celtic played in that opening game, started
Yeah.
that opening game.
Yeah.
In 94 when Ray Houghton scored the winner against Italy.
Right, okay.
So I'll give you a point for each of the 3 players you get who played against Italy.
I think it was.
Paddy, you should be.
Right. Are you wanting to go to me first?
Oh, yeah.
If you want, Paddy, I'll go to you first, pal.
I went for Pat Bonner, Chris Morris, and Tony Cascarino.
And Scotty.
I've went for Bonner, Morris, and Coyne.
Oh,
Scotty. 2 points there. And Stephen.
I only got 2 names: Pat Bonner, Tommy Coyne.
2 points, mate. The 3 players, lads, was Pat Bonner, Tommy Coyne, and Roy Keane. Roy Keane started that game.
he did too. He did. No, he did.
Sorry, I thought you meant that we're playing at Celtic at that time.
Right.
Sorry, I
No, sorry, I
mistake.
just said they. Sorry, I just said they played for Celtic, mate.
Oh, he absolutely
Sorry.
did. You're right, now.
Sorry.
You're right, now.
Number 4. Which team did Ireland beat in penalties when Pat Bonner saved their first shot to take them into the quarter-finals in 1990?
Fucking hell,
I
man.
can remember the save. Oh, fuck, who was that?
I think it
Paddy's
was.
Lala.
Oh, I can fucking see the save a mile.
I can see the save. That's.
Right, I'm just going to make a guess, man. Fuck it.
Oh, wait a minute. I see him.
Guessing it, man. I'm just guessing.
And we'll go to you, Scott.
I went for Romania, mate, but I think I'm wrong.
And we'll go to you, Stephen.
I've guessed Italy.
Oh, they beat Italy 1-0.
Paddy. Tell the boys, Paddy.
It was Romania, Scott, and it was a guy
Romania,
called
well
Timofte.
done, lads.
It was a guy called
Lads,
Timofte.
for a
that he
bonus
saved
point.
it.
For a wee bonus point, which Celtic player's brother get the winner? Which Celtic player's brother got the winner? Please.
Got the winner, what?
Oh, I got it.
He's
David O'Leary.
which
Pierce
Celtic
O'Leary.
player's brother did he go? Pierce
Pierce
O'Leary's
O'Leary.
brother, David O'Leary, get the winner. Pat Bonner saved, and Big David O'Leary got
Big Davy was playing for
the
Arsenal at the
winning
time.
goal.
and he slotted it away with the left foot like a striker.
Yep.
That was it, his testimonial.
Number 5. Number 5, lads. Jock Stein managed Scotland in one World Cup. But which one was it? 1974, 1978, or 1982?
Yeah.
We'll start with you, Stevie boy.
When you asked the question, 7-8 popped into my head, right? So I wrote it down, but I think I'm wrong.
78, mate.
Aye.
And Paddy.
I went for 1982.
Aye.
Gerry.
And Scotty.
Yeah, 82, mate.
Aye.
Unfortunately, never made it to 86.
That's right.
82. Big Willie Osmond was 74 and Ali McLeod was 78.
Ali
so he
McLeod,
was Stevie
yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 6, lads. How many Celtic players are going to this year's World Cup?
Yeah,
6,
got it.
7, or 8?
Yeah.
We just went down this other week there, didn't we? We went through them all.
I think that's the other day.
We went through.
So how many Celtic players are going to this year's World Cup? 6,
Right, come on.
7, or 8?
Oh, no, wait, I'm counting.
I
He's
can't-
confident. Oh. Right, I'll go for this
Go
one.
to you first, Scotty.
I don't know who's that player based on the 8 players that are going to the World Cup for Celtic.
And Paddy.
I went for 8, Scott.
And Stephen.
8.
Yeah, bastards.
Well
he's-
done, lads. Well done. Mida, Negrin, Yang, Tenecti, Tierney, Ralston, Trusty, and Johnston. Well done, lads. And number 7, name the former Celtic manager who played and lost 2 World Cup finals.
Yeah.
Say that again, Gerry. I will see there for a second.
Name the former Celtic manager who played and lost in 2 World Cup finals.
All right.
Oh, got it.
Aye. So we'll go with you, Scotty.
It was Wim Jansen, mate.
Aye.
Wim Jansen. Paddy.
Yeah, Whitney Nelson.
And Stephen.
Yeah, Wim Jansen.
Well done. I think we took Venglos took Czechoslovakia to the quarterfinals once, I know. Venglos,
Yeah.
so he did as manager. Number 8, lads. Name the Celtic player with the most caps for Scotland between Billy McNeil, Jinky, and Tommy Gemmell. So they're the 3 most capped players for Celtic Scotland. So they're the 3 top ones. But what ones get the most out of the 3? Billy McNeil, Jinky, or Tommy Gemmell? And we'll start with you, Scotty.
Got to be Caesar.
Okie dokie. Paddy
Billy McNeil for me, Scott.
and Stephen.
That was an educated guess on me. Billy McNeil.
Hi, lads. Billy McNeil with 29 caps. Well done. Jinky 23 and Tommy Gemmell 18. They were the most free for the highest for Celtic players. The rest are on their 5s and 2s and 9s. You know that?
I thought you were going to be
Number
one of your
9,
bloody
lads.
trick questions there.
That's what I thought too.
No, I just like to do that. I like to kind of try pick. Scotland have played Brazil 3 times at Hampden, losing 2-0, 1-0, and 1 each, draw once. But name the Lisbon Lion that scored in the 1-1 game. So
Oh,
played Brazil 3 times at Hampden,
Yeah.
and we've only scored once at Hampden in 3 games, and it was a Lisbon Lion that scored the goal
Yeah.
in 1966. See the 3 ones I mentioned there, it wasn't any of the 3. There you go, there's a, that'll hang me down a wee
Has
bit
to-
for you.
has to be.
It was quite, I mean, the years talked about, so it was. And we'll go to you, Paddy.
I went for Stevie Chalmers.
Stephen.
Do I get points for guessing all these? I've went for Stevie Chalmers or not. Just a guess, but I don't know.
And Scotty.
The king of Saltcoats, Bobby Lennox.
The answer was Stevie Chalmers, mate.
Oh,
Stevie Chalmers got the goal. So he did.
This is going to be close tonight, boys.
And number 10 and final question, lads. Which Celtic player made his debut for Scotland in 1983 at 18 years of age and stayed in the team and squad for 14 years?
Yeah.
So he made his debut in 83 and stayed in the team for 14 years and in the squad.
Got to be. I say it all the time.
What year was it, Gerry? 83, you said?
You need to get this.
So it's 83 until 97.
And 14 years, he started his debut in 83 at 18 years of age. We'll go to you, Stephen.
Oh, I don't know. That's I've not got a clue.
No,
I don't know.
we'll go to you. We'll go to you, Paddy.
I went for Paul McStay.
Fucking bastard, you.
Paddy. Well done. Scott, Paul McStay. Well
Paul
done,
McStay.
lads. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Stevie. 6, 7, 8, 9 for Paddy plus a bonus. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, you know what? Scott get 10. Paddy get 9 with a wee bonus one, but so that could be a draw. And Stephen gets 7. So well done, boys.
Brilliant, boys. Brilliant,
A
boys.
wee bonus,
Fantastic, guys.
Davy O'Leary. So
Brilliant.
well done,
Brilliant,
boys.
guys.
Well done.
Absolutely.
Well done, Scott. Well done,
Well done.
Stephen. Well done,
I'll
guys.
take 7 out of 10 all day long. I'm chuffed with that. Yeah.
Gerry, thanks, Gerry. That was brilliant. Cheers, mate.
Well done, Stevie boy. How about
I fucking guessed 5 of them.
I text you the 10 of them, Stephen. I
Text
text you
him
the
5.
10 of them.
Text him 5 every week.
Brilliant.
Well done, Gerry.
It's Jerry's
Well done,
big
boys.
fat quiz.
Absolutely outstanding, that, lads. Brilliant, Gerry. That's your best quiz yet, for sure.
That's great. Yes.
Brought back some good memories there as well.
Absolutely, mate. Yep. See the
Well done,
74, 78 World Cup, those thinking back to those tournaments there, brilliant.
I'm raging. When you asked that one about Jock seeing at World Cup, 78 popped into my head, and I knew it was 82. I'm raging. I could have had 8 out of 10. Raging.
Right, lads, I've got to go to Gibraltar in the next 2 minutes. So, unfortunately, that is the
Oh,
end
you're
of
joking
the show.
me. We'll get another hour yet.
We're just getting warmed up, Scott.
See if I wasn't going to work, I would do another hour. That's you can stay on if you want. I need to go.
Brilliant, guys.
No, thank you so much, ladies and gents. That was absolutely a brilliant show again tonight. If this is your first time watching the 4 Leaf Clover podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that nonsense. Tell your pals and all that stuff as well. Paddy, thank you. Gerry, thank you. Stephen, thank you. But most importantly, thank all yous for watching our carry on.
Cheers, everybody, the chat.
Guys, absolutely brilliant. I need to honestly shoot off, or I'd love to stay for a wee bit longer. I can't even speak to the guys in the green room. It's that tight for time now. I've got another country to go to. So all the best, and we'll see you next Friday.
Next Friday, guys.
Hail, hail, guys.
Hail, hail. All the best.